Welcome to the Explainer. Ever wonder, how do we really know what's true? How do we cut through all the noise and get to the facts? Well, today we're diving into the research process. Think of it like a four-step roadmap that can take you from a simple, I wonder, to real solid knowledge. I mean, it's a massive question, right? And honestly, we're all doing this kind of thing every single day. Power goes out, you check the fuse box. That's you, doing a little investigation. The thing is, our brains love shortcuts, and while that's great for getting through the day, those same shortcuts can sometimes, well, lead us way off track. Yeah, it's super easy to fall into these little mental traps, like you only notice the things that prove what you already believe, or you make these huge leaps in logic based on like one or two examples. And that is exactly why we need a research roadmap. It's the systematic, logical guide that helps us avoid those pitfalls and actually get to an answer we can stand behind. Okay, so let's jump in. Here's what we've got on the docket. First, we'll talk about why we even need a map like this. Then we're going to walk through each of the four stages, step by step. All right, first things first. Before you head out on any expedition, you've got to understand the terrain, right? In research, that means knowing the common thinking traps that can trip us all up.
Sound familiar? I mean, come on, we've all done this stuff. We see what we want to see, or we hear about something happening twice and suddenly think it happens all the time. The point of research isn't to be some perfect, bias-free robot. No way. It's about having a system in place, a safety net really, to catch these very human tendencies.
Okay, let's get to the map itself. Stage 1, charting the course. Every single great journey starts with knowing where you're going. And in research, that means getting super clear on the problem you're trying to solve. So here we are, step 1. And let me tell you, this part is everything. If you don't get this right, the whole rest of the journey is going to be a mess. You know, fuzzy question, fuzzy answer. It's as simple as that.
So this is literally where you draw the map. First, you nail down your exact research problem, then you do a little homework. What have other people already found out about this? That's your literature review. From there, you can develop a solid theory and state a clear hypothesis, basically your educated guess. And super important, you have to think about the ethics of it all, right from the get-go. All right, maps in hand. Time for the adventure to begin. Stage 2 is where we go out and gather the clues. This is all about collecting the information, the raw data that's going to help us figure this thing out.
Yep, we're on to step 2. The planning phase is over. Now it's time to get our hands dirty and actually obtain that information.
And this is where some really key decisions happen. Like, who or what are you going to observe? You can't talk to everyone, right? So you have to figure out your sampling. Then, how are you actually going to collect the info? Surveys? Interviews? An experiment? This systematic approach, well, that's what makes it research, not just, collecting random anecdotes. Okay, so you've done the field work, you're back from the expedition, and you've got this huge pile of clues. Maybe it's a spreadsheet full of numbers or a stack of interview transcripts. Right now, it just looks like a mess. But this is where the magic happens. We are now in stage 3, connecting the dots. This is the part where you might have that big aha moment. You take all that raw stuff you gathered, and you start to analyze it, to interpret it. You're basically looking for the story that's hidden in the data. And it doesn't matter if you're working with, hard quantitative data or more descriptive qualitative stuff. The process is the same. You're describing, organizing, and just making sense of it all. You're translating that raw data into something that actually means something, into real answers. So you found something. That's amazing. But a discovery that nobody knows about, well, does it even count? The journey isn't over until you share what you've found. This last stage is absolutely vital. And that brings us to our final destination, stage 4, communicating the results. This is how we close the loop. We share our findings so that other people can see them, maybe even challenge them, and build on them. This is literally how human knowledge grows. And really, the main job here is to write the research report. Think of it like a travelogue of your entire journey. It has to be clear. You show people, here's the question I started with, here's the path I took to find the answer, and here's what I found when I got there. That transparency is what makes the whole thing trustworthy. So when you boil it all down, this whole 4-step roadmap, it's not just for scientists and lab coats, It's a really powerful tool for thinking clearly, for anyone. It's a way to approach problems in your own life, to ask better questions, and to find answers that are actually based on something solid. So you've got the map. The only question left is, what are you curious about? What question about your world are you going to investigate next? Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.